Good night, listeners. Welcome to Naval String Connections. My name is ARIA LIGHTFOOT. Bilal Morris, my co-host, is just dealing with some technical issues, and we should see him shortly. I am on XTV Creme Radio, and this is the eve of our independence in Belize. Tonight, we're joined by Miss Christine Smith, who comes to us from Restore Belize. And Miss Smith actually has a very interesting and very prominent background. Interesting, I found was you were majoring in mathematics, right?
Yeah.
So we'll talk a little bit about that. Hopefully, we can get Bilal in also. Um, so, Miss Smith, thank you for joining us. If you could just introduce yourself to us a little bit, and then we can get the conversation going.
Okay, my name is Christine Smith, and I am the Executive Director of Restore Belize.
I need far more than that, Miss Smith.
Okay.
We'll be digging deeply.
Uh,
So, what part of Belize you grew up? This is called Naval String Connections. So you
I
always
am
have to start there.
Belize City. I grew up in Belize City on Freetown Road.
Okay. And
Um,
you went to study, right? You studied
yeah,
outside Belize.
I St. Joseph, Palotti, Belize Technical College, UB, and then I went away to Taiwan to do my master's.
So how was that experience in Taiwan? Like, how
I
long
was
were
great.
you there?
I was there for 2 years. Uh, you have your own little culture shock that you have to deal with, but once you get over that, there is a really strong Belizean community of students that are in Taiwan, and so that made it a whole lot easier because we were able to cook and eat Belizean food and talk Creole and do all the stuff that we did at home.
So
So
how,
that made it.
what are some of like the culture shock? So was this like your first trip to Asia, those
Yeah, yes,
areas?
it was. I think one of the strangest thing, if you will, was the way the dorms were set up. One, you had to share a dorm, which is
Which
in
they
of
do
its own
here.
self.
They do here in the US too.
Um, but the dorm you had limited space, and what you had was your bunk was at the top, and then your desk at the bottom. So whatever you had to fit within that space, and
Okay.
uh,
Efficiency, tati efficiency.
I know, right? And then of course the food, adapting to the food was a bit of a challenge. But we were able to find different restaurants, if you will, on the campus.
Okay.
And 7-Eleven is a godsend to any student who is in Taiwan because they have food and you can just warm it in the microwave there and move on. What was really amazing about it was the ease of travel, to be able to move from one point to the next, freely, not to be concerned with any crime or anything. You could just move around on your own, any time of the day or night.
Okay.
And so I have really great experiences and memories of being in Taiwan.
How many students would you say are at the university you attended?
Belizean students, when I was there, it was only four of us, four Belizeans.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, four or
And by the
five.
time you left, about 30?
No, when I left, they had because I was at National Tsinghua University. So that's one of the bigger universities. When I left, they had maybe around the same five or six Belizeans.
Okay.
But at some of the other universities, you had more students, especially the universities in Taipei
Okay.
had more students.
And how many students would you say belong to the organization?
So, which organization? Restore
Believe
Belief?
overall, like not only your university, but you said that there's a big student, you know.
Well, when you look at the amount of Belizean students who were there at the time that I was there were over 50 students in Taiwan at that time.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
And how
And I
big
know
is
the numbers keep increasing.
Yeah, because I think I saw almost 20 students got scholarships recently
Yes.
to go. Yeah.
So it's a really great experience for any Belizean student. It allows you to not only learn in terms of education, but also to appreciate different culture, different background. Because at the university, there was a huge international population. So you got to interact with persons from Africa,
I'm right here. I'm listening. Go ahead.
from Brazil, Colombia, South America, North America, Central America, as well as other Caribbean countries. So it was a great experience.
Yeah, I'm trying to get Harlan to take that noise off in the background.
Oh,
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
I could hear that. You hearing me, Aria?
Yeah, I can hear you
Yeah, we
perfectly
can
now.
hear.
Okay.
So, Miss,
I think I remedied the problem. Yeah, that music. Did you message him?
I did. I did send him two messages. I don't
Here
know
we
if,
are on live television, right? Trying to
yes, yes.
troubleshoot.
So Miss Smith was discussing going to school in Taiwan, where she did her master's, right? And you did your bachelor's at UB?
Yes,
Yeah. So
at
there's
the
a
University College
significant,
of Belize.
awesome. There's a significant Belize population, which I think is awesome. And son, a lot of people are not coming back home. Is that true?
Well, I believe some have not, but the majority of Belizeans do come home and do
Okay.
their time and give back to the country in gratitude for what has been given to them.
So now you are back. You came back from studying. You did an MBA, right?
Yes, I did.
Why Restore Belize? Like, is this something that you have a history with, or why did you choose that organization?
Well, I came back from Taiwan from 2009, so that's
You've been there for a
many
while.
many different opportunities beyond that.
Okay.
I came back from Taiwan. When I left to go to Taiwan, I was teaching at SJC.
Okay.
When I came back, I taught at SJC for a year. And then in 2010, I left teaching to go be director of youth. I was there for a couple of years, and then I left and did consultancies for a while, and then I went to Beltrade for a regional program, a regional entrepreneurship program, an Emprende program, and I was there for doing that Emprende program for maybe 2 years, a year and a half. And just as I was about to leave that, the Belize Training and Employment Center was created through Beltrade, and I started as the manager for that.
So
And
you've worked for many years, you've worked with youths. It sounds
yeah.
like youth entrepreneurship.
Mm-hmm.
What is your opinion about youths in Belize? Because it seems like, and I'm just comparing it when I was growing up. I feel like when I was growing up, we didn't experience a lot of crime around the youth population. Death seems to be very high among their population. Um, what do you see, because you're in a Restore Belize where you're trying to make some level of impact within that community, what do you think shifted from our generation to this generation, you think?
But I wouldn't say that we may not have seen a lot of crime in our days, but it's not necessarily that more crime is being committed by young people. The amount of young people who are actually involved in crime is a small percentage. It just seems a whole lot because we are inundated with news of crime. But
Okay.
it's not that our young people are out there just committing crime left, right, and center. I think our young people are doing the best that they can given the changes in life. We have to remember that this generation is one of the first generations that grew up on through the digital world.
Right.
So a lot of the connections, a lot of the relationship building, all of that. Uh, not that they have not had it, but they were not exposed to it in the same vein as other generations. So they are doing what they know best. And
Okay.
any young person that you meet right now, their ability to maneuver and get around the digital aspect of life is amazing. And a lot of them are turning to that digital world to create opportunities and careers for themselves. So I
And
think
some
our young people are working the way their brain and their environment is working with them.
so do we have could you tell us a little bit about the mission for Restore Belize? And
All
I'm
right.
listening, Bilal, I'm listening, so I'll just try to call Harlan while we're off. I'm right here.
Okay. So Restore Belize's mission is to empower families and communities to build their resilience, thereby enhancing their quality of life through sustainable programs that provide access to meaningful education, comprehensive literacy, and essential socio emotional skills. So what we're doing at the organization is ensuring that young people and families not only bounce back from adversity, but that they also bounce forward so that they find their place
No.
in society and can actually become the productive, responsible citizens that they are meant to be. I'm not hearing you, Mr. Morris. Your audio is gone again.
Well, I'm here. I managed to address the issue with the background noise. Um, sorry. So my apologies for that.
It's okay.
So this mission that you have with the mission that Restore Belize is doing, and Restore Belize have been around for a while
Yes,
because
Restore Belize was came on board in 2010,
do you
actually.
guys have measurements of the impact that it has created over the years?
Yes, we definitely have over the years been able to track our impact. Restore Belize as an organization, not only, if I may, we have three programs at the organization. We have trauma-informed practices in school, or a trauma-informed care program that works at, it's a training program that we extend to community workers, to duty bearers, to persons who work with young people so that they realize the impact of their actions. And when we talk about actions, we're not talking only about physical actions, but we're talking about words, we're talking about our facial expressions, our body language and everything. And when we put those actions to our young people, we have to realize that what we do has a lasting impact on them, not
Right.
only in terms of how they perceive education, but what happens in their personal life, and more specifically, what in terms of their mental health. So that is what the trauma-informed practices in school program does. The other program that we have, in a nutshell, the other program that we have is the Early Identification Intervention System. It's a literacy program that we work with primary schools where we train teachers on utilizing an online platform so that children can be taught at the level that they are. Because in literacy, you first learn to read and then you move on to reading to learn.
Right.
But we have to be able to reach children and young people at the level that they are. So if they're not at the level in terms of their class, then some intervention has to be done to make sure that they reach the level so that when they leave that class, they are at least reading at their level and then they can move on to the next stage. So that is the that program. It's an online program. It's a program that we do in partnership with UNICEF and a number of primary schools. And the company, Iwani, provides the technical training for teachers on how to use the platform. There is a literacy coach that's assigned and an M&E consultant that tracks the progress of students. So you mentioned, you spoke about impact. In order to measure impact, we need to have the data to support and show what we're doing. So we have been able to do that for the programs. The bedrock, if you will, of Restore Belize is the I Am Belize Scholarship Program. It is a scholarship program that reaches students who want to attend high school. It is not a merit-based program, so it differs from all the other scholarship programs that are out there in that we're looking for students who have the aptitude for learning, who want to go to high school, who want to attend a high school of their choice, but whose financial circumstances would prevent them from doing that. So the scholarship program provides that to them, but it's not just while we provide the books, tuition, and uniform, we go beyond that in that we offer wraparound services and more of a holistic package of services. So students who may need lunch at school are able to get lunch as part of the scholarship program. Students who may need tutoring are able to access tutoring services so that they can have successful outcomes at the end of the school year. We have every evening from Monday to Thursday, students come into the office and we have what is referred to as study hall, where students come in, they do whatever homework they need. There is assistance in terms of staff who monitor and coach them through their homework. They have access to all the resources that they may need to do projects. Since a lot of the schools have moved to competency-based learning, and one of the components of competency-based is it leans heavily towards projects. So they are able to come in and get whatever equipment and resource they may need. We also provide for them when they come snack, there's something for them to eat, and then we provide transportation for them when it's time for them to leave and go home. But because Restore Belize works with communities, then we know that we cannot just simply work with the student. We also have to work with the parents. So we have, as part of the program, a parenting program where 2 Sundays out of the month, parents come in on for 2 hours, and they do sessions on communications, mental health, self-care. We have been able to do sessions with them on healthy living, a little bit of religion or spirituality, and basically sessions where parents have realized that they have a network. The parenting program is to let parents understand that there's a network. There's a support system in place where Restore Belize is one of the components in the support system. The parent is the other, and then the school is the third. So in terms of the school, we work with, we advocate on behalf of the students. We track their progress through Abacus. We build relationship with the homeroom teachers so that we know when the child is missing school or they have missing work, and we see how we can intervene. The whole point of all of this is so that while we know that at times persons will not be successful, we don't wait until the end to go out. So we put the interventions in place along the way. And if at the end of all those interventions, then success is not had, then we know that we did everything that we possibly could, and we move on and find ways to help the child.
How many kids are currently impacted by?
We have 64 students as part of the I Am Belize Scholarship Program.
And how are children identified to be part of it?
Well, there's an application process. what we have been seeing over the last couple of years is a lot of the primary schools are actually feeder agencies, feeder schools to the organization. So they send in their application. Once we get the application, it's vetted. As part of the process, there has to be a home visit because we have to know what is the circumstances within the home. It's
Right.
not that we're trying to get into people's business, but we need to know that there is a support system at home and that there are people who will be, someone will be there in the evenings or when there is asynchronous days or anything to provide guidance and to make sure that that child is going to school. Once the home visits are done, then there's interviews and then the selection process.
Now, and I'm just thinking, because you do parenting classes and stuff for parents, which I think is awesome. I think this guy, Jeffrey Canada, he has a program in the US, the Harlem Project. It sounds very
Okay.
similar where they do similar stuff. But what happens to like kids who are in homes, for example, where they don't have support, or maybe their parents can't read, or they can't fill out an application? Is there a way that you guys help the parents with the application process?
Yes, well, they can come in, and we have had cases, rare cases, where parents have come in and we have assisted with the application. And that's the whole purpose of the study hall, so that when the child is finished from school, he or she comes to Restore and they get help to do whatever homework they need. So when they go home, if they have studying to do, then they study.
Right.
But it's not that you go home and have homework and don't have a computer or you don't have access to the internet. You have that at Restore. So when you leave from there, the majority of them would have completed the homework that they needed to do for the night.
And you know, it's a thing where a lot of people don't realize that some of these kids don't even have electricity.
Yes.
So if they go home, it's like they're in the dark. They might not have running water. It's a completely different, and I don't know if people appreciate the fact that that even happened in the city. It's not only a rural reality for some kids, it happened in parts of Belize City also, right?
Yes.
Do you have any stories about any kids that came through it? Any stories about a kid that came through Restore Belize and is a success story, how they started?
Well, we have several examples. Without mentioning any names, we have had students whose familial situation has been dire, for lack of a better word, and they have persevered. Which they have remember, we are focused on resiliency. So we have had kids who have had to repeat at their high school, had to move out of the city for safety reasons, but that did not deter them. They continued, they thrive, and one young man right now, he is working. He graduated maybe 2 years ago, and he's working in Belmopan.
Okay.
We've had the stories of students whose parents have passed during COVID, and they have been left with grandparents, and grandparents who were not working, so they had to figure out how to manage work, school, and balance, and they are successful. So we have
And it's
over the last,
generational, right? It's
I've been at
generational.
Restore since 2020, and I know even prior to my being there are several really strong success stories. And it just goes to show that our young people want to try. They want to be able to say that I have completed and I have finished, and I have done the best that I could with with the resources that I've had. So we have those stories. We have kids who come back and are very grateful for the help that they have received, and parents. So I must say that over the last 6 years, we have had offered scholarships to 106 students. 58 of them have graduated. over the last, and we have only had 6 students who have dropped out. Even for those who drop out, we extend to them if you find that you know at that time you were not in the headspace to finish school, but now you are in the headspace, there is still the opportunity to come back to the organization, and if it's night school that they want to attend, we can figure out how to help them with that.
You guys do like trade school also for the...
Yes, we have had 2 students. We had a student who was at a regular high school, and this is one of our success stories. During the COVID period, you know how that transition, everything went online, and schools went online without realizing that a lot of their student population had no access to anything.
Right.
And he was one of the students who struggled with that. But what we did during COVID, we created a space where students came into the office, and we provided them with device and access to internet, fed them so they could do their work. But online learning is hard. It's a lot harder than face to face.
Too much
And he was not able to keep up with it. So he decided he stopped school. But we didn't just walk away. I had a conversation with him and his mother, and the conversation was, okay, you want to stop, but what do you want to do? Because just saying I'm going to stop school, that's your right and everything, but what is it that you want to do? And he said he wanted to be to go to IT vet, and he did. I think he did the first time around. He wasn't too successful at IT vet, but the second time around he went and he completed, and he's working. And if you see him now, it's just a matter of great pride. But it goes to show that sometimes what they start off with might not be what they want, or they might not be able to finish it. But you have to be able to provide them with opportunities and second chances. And if this doesn't work, then maybe you could try this. Or
I have a question, because in my experience, I have boys. I have 2 boys, and I find boys sometimes take longer. Girls tend to be more, and I don't know if because we're in the communication age, as they call it, but girls tend to know what they want a little bit earlier. Boys, to me, tend to take a little longer to figure out what they ultimately want to do. Is that your experience when you're dealing with these students, the girls versus the boys?
in some cases, there are some young men who are very driven and they know what they want. Uh, and on the other hand, there are also some females who are also very driven, but there are also some females who haven't really found their footing, and there are males who haven't found their footing. So I think it's more a case by case rather than a generalization.
So you don't find, because I think statistically they were saying that women in Belize or girls were graduating at a higher level than a lot of the boys. But
well, that is true. But then we have to look at why are the boys not in school?
Right.
And it's not just a case of them not wanting to be in school. We have to be cognizant of the fact that a lot of our young men are forced into maturity because of the dynamics of their lives.
Right.
They have to be the one to help at home. They have to be the one to help bring in income into the home. And if you need if you need to bring income into the home, then school doesn't become a priority.
Right.
Because you're in school for 4 years, and while high school is terminal for a lot of our students and a lot of young people in Belize, if you need money to live, then and everybody at home is telling you you're the man in the house and you need to do this, then you leave school and you try and find a job, not realizing that yes, you will find jobs, but you might end up being stuck at that job for a very long time because you don't have any formal papers, and we can pretend all we want, but all businesses, most businesses are looking for persons with papers,
Right.
and the minimum paper that they want is a high school diploma. And so we have to figure out how we keep our young men in school, but not just keep them there, but keep them in school where they are learning skills and tools that they can use that will make them employable, or even to make them entrepreneurial,
Right.
so that they're not just thinking about, oh, I need to work for someone, but you know what, I can create my own jobs. I can be a social entrepreneur. I can look at what is happening in society and figure out how I can be a solution to some of the problems that are happening in society.
One of the things in Belize, we have a lot of efforts happening in the field. Like I remember listening to the Catholic school in Lake High area. The pastor was saying that, or the priest was saying that a lot of the kids are suffering from severe trauma.
Yes.
It's either that they've dealt with a family member getting killed, they've witnessed things. Um, how is that addressed? I mean, what the reason I'm bringing it up is because it seems like there's a lot of efforts in Belize from different organizations that are trying to solve the youth problem. And I think it's a youth problem. I know you might not articulate it that way, but I feel like it is a generational thing where this youth generation is being impacted with things that we never experienced. And I think even from a national policy, I don't know if we are projecting what Belize is going to look like 50 years from now, with a lot of young people who have been exposed to things that are mental health crisis, right?
Mm-hmm.
Do you guys partner with other organizations, and do you also bring in healthcare professionals? Is it only on a, like, is it on a, how is that addressed for a lot of the young kids that are facing this trauma?
Well, remember I mentioned that we have the trauma informed practices as
Right.
part of our organization, and that program is headed by a licensed mental health
Okay.
uh, professional. So we have an in-house counselor at Restore. What the training does, because we're training teachers, we're training police officers, we're training community workers. It's alerting persons to what trauma is,
Right.
and making sure that they understand that when you need to look beyond the behavior, because sometimes the behavior is caused by the trauma that they are experiencing. And if you only look at the behavior, then you start writing kids off.
Right.
And you start labeling them as being bad kids without understanding the dynamics of what they have gone through. So as I said, one of the parts of the program is to ensure that people understand what the trauma lens is and that we don't re-traumatize persons. Now, all the teachers, we have trained in schools, and what the second step to that training is, teachers can access mental health sessions with our therapists if they choose,
Okay.
because you can't pour from an empty cup, in other words. So if you are traumatized and you are in the classroom, then you will pass on that trauma. And until you address that trauma that you are going through, then you are doing more harm than good. So the counseling session is extended to teachers.
Okay.
Extended, we have worked with the police. They are extended to police officers as well. But apart from that, for our students and for our parents can access counseling services through our mental health practitioner. Our students can also access that, and we have worked with several mental health professionals to ensure that students get the counseling services that they may need.
And do you find that people take advantage of it?
Yes,
They do?
we have had several of our students over the last couple of years have been in counseling, and we have seen where it has
Improved.
it has helped them. I can give you. We had a case of a young man who was severely depressed, if you will, and he did his counseling sessions, and he was able to move beyond that darkness that he was seeing. So counseling does work. I mean, we don't give it as much credit as we should in Belize because we're still in the mentality that we don't need to tell people we're business.
Right.
But it is something that we need to realize that our young people are, because they're not as expressive as we may have been in the past, they hold a lot of things in, and we have to give them a platform and an opportunity for them to express those things free
I,
of judgment.
I like the idea of counseling the parents because I feel like that's how you kind of break generational trauma
Yes.
and stuff like that, is for the parents to understand their words, how they
Mm-hmm.
frame things to their children,
Yeah.
how they build up that child's self-esteem or break it down.
Yes.
There might not be understanding, so I do like that. How do you guys get funding?
Uh, we for the parenting program is funded by UNICEF. They have been our partners for the last, I don't know, 8 or so years. The scholarship program is funded by, we have several donors. We have Belize Natural Energy Charitable Trust. We have Atlantic Bank Limited, Atlantic Insurance, DFC, BWSL, BEL, UNDP. UNICEF has funded over the last couple of years. And then we have several private donors who are sponsoring a student.
So if a private donor, what's the scholarship? Does it look like? How much does it cost to sponsor a child?
All right, there are tiers. If the private donor only wants to sponsor tuition, because a lot of our students are aiming to go to what we refer to as tier one schools. So that's the Palote, the SJC, the STA, where their fee structure can be anywhere from 1,200 to 1,500. So if the donor wants to just do tuition, then we're asking that they give at least 1,500.
Belize.
If they want to make sure that the student has access to all the services, then we're asking that they give a contribution of 2,200 for the school year.
Okay. And that 2,200 covers what?
It covers tuition, books, uniform, tutoring if they need, and we try and squeeze in lunch at school if possible as well.
So right now you're catering to 64 students?
64 students.
And are you trying to grow the program?
Yes, we want to grow. We're always actively looking for donors. But apart from the scholarship, there's other opportunities for sponsorship, if you will. We have what is study hall. So if there are persons who are interested in contributing to the study hall component, because we offer food and snacks to the students when they come, that's an opportunity for sponsorship as well.
Okay.
If we have a donor who would say, you know what, all I want to do is make sure that a child has a meal at school, then we can work with the donor. And based on the school, we offer students who eat at school it's $6 that we offer.
Right.
So if anybody is interested in that component, then if there are persons, we're always looking for opportunities to take the kids outside of the city, expose them to different things, sponsorship for a trip, so there are a lot of opportunities to ensure that young people who don't necessarily have access to the finances to move around Belize City, the country of Belize as they would want, that they get to see something outside of their environment. And I get to see that there are people out there who still care and who still will contribute without expecting anything in return.
And you said the participants are 64, but what is the actual need? Like what is the need for the community? Because we know it's at 64 that you have allowed into. And I guess it has to be in a way where you have to kind of be selective because you
Yeah.
have a limited budget. But as a somebody who's been within that youth environment for a while, how many people, how many kids are out there that you think would need this help?
A lot more. I would say if you double the number, you still won't reach it. This year we offered 17 scholarships, but we had 24, 24 applicants.
Okay,
But we were able, because of funding, to only offer 17 scholarships. So it would be great if we could offer as many scholarships as we have applicants. But
right.
in order to do that, we need more funds.
And if somebody wanted to donate, and do you have limitations on donations? Like you only accept 100 or 50 or can somebody say, listen, I don't have a lot of money, but I can give you something, whatever I can.
We will
So
accept that.
somebody, okay. How do people contact Restore Belize?
They can send an email. It's restorebelize@opm.gov.bz, and they reach out via that, or on our Facebook. They send us a message. We find a way to contact them. If they're in Belize City, they can come to our office at 81 North Front Street. We're right next to right in front of the Turton Library on
Okay.
North Front Street.
Do you
So
only
they
service
can.
Belize City right now, or do you service the country?
Well, we have a student in Belmopan right now. We also have one. We have two in Orange Walk.
Okay, okay. So
Mm-hmm.
it's really centered around Southside Belize City, you would assume, right?
South side. Well, I would. We also have quite a number of students from rural
Okay, Belize District.
Belize district.
Okay, okay. And for those 7 kids that didn't make it into the scholarship program, what happens to them? I mean, I know that's not something, but it to me, I feel I'm like you. If 24 kids apply, there should be some way that those 24 kids can all those other kids. What happened to those 7 kids that don't get it?
Well, as I said, we try and find, if we find additional funds, then we bring them in.
Okay,
But what we have been able to do in some cases, while we might not be able to give a full scholarship, if we have books, because over the years we have collected a whole lot of books,
okay.
we offer books and give what we can.
And I guess, well, I'm not assuming, but what determines what kid get in and what kid doesn't?
Uh, like I said, it's the home visit, the situation of the home, the access to the support system, and then how well they do in the interviews.
Okay, okay. Man, that's kind of tough. How did you get into this field here? Because I'm looking at you as a mathematics and business student, and you're
Uh,
in something to me that those two, you should be running a business and making yourself millions of dollars. You have the perfect combination. So how
well,
did you get into this field?
remember, I started off as a teacher.
Right. Okay.
So
Okay.
the teaching profession is a service. It's service mentality, and
Right.
that's who I am. I am a person who uh, is offers service to others. So it's not necessarily about me, but about the service that I can bring, and based on that, that gives me the gratification that I need. So I have always been working with young people.
Okay.
And it's just moving from, remember, teaching is not just standing in front of a classroom anymore.
Right.
Well, it never was. Teach as a teacher, you are a parent, a counselor, you're everything. And throughout my teaching years, I was never just a teacher. I was always involved in all the other extracurricular activities, making sure, finding opportunities for my students to do more out of the classroom, because it's out of the classroom. While you're able to make an impact in the classroom, it's out of the classroom that you build relationships, and you get to see where students really thrive in some cases, because some of them gravitate towards sports because sports is what allows them to be free,
Right.
and it allows them to see small wins
And
faster
compete positively.
than you do in school.
Right.
So I've always been actively involved in working with young people outside of the classroom.
So why an MBA then? Like why did you study the MBA aspect?
Well, opportunities,
Okay.
and I think it is good to be able to branch outside of your comfort zone.
Right.
So my comfort zone is mathematics. And I when I describe myself to people, I say I'm a teacher. I'm a teacher, and I'm a teacher for life. But business allows you to think differently and think outside the box. So that, and I choose to say that I think entrepreneurial. So I look for solutions where problems may exist, and I find out of the box solutions. But it is my mathematical and my analytical background that allows me to present and put data out there to show
Right.
impact. Because if you're not showing impact, then you're not showing the worth of the organization. And I'm very impact driven.
So with that said, that you care about impact, you care about kids, what is in place for the mental health of the teachers? Because when I was in Belize, I worked at prosecution, and after 2 years, I couldn't deal with it's really a depressing environment to be in. I often wonder how some of these police officers even deal with seeing so much all the time. And I know teachers, depending on where they're teaching, a lot of them are exposed to a lot of things that is outside what people would call normal. Not that it is, but normal environments where these kids are now dealing with seeing things that most adults have never seen in their lives, right?
Yeah.
So what services for even your staff members, what services exist so that we can, or you guys can deal with the mental health aspect of dealing with these types of environments?
Well, like I said, the teachers have access to our mental health practitioner.
Okay.
My staff, and I've expressed to them, they can always access a mental health practitioner outside of the office if they feel that things are too much.
Right.
We and I think that's something that all of us have to find somebody who we can unwind with,
Right.
and we
Right.
have to find ways to self-care. One of the things I used to do, and this is when I was teaching, an old friend who has passed away, used to tell me, on Fridays you don't take homework. So every Friday evening, he would just leave his briefcase in the office. And I would ask him, well, why are you doing that? And his response would be, over the weekend, I need to find me. I need to spend time with me. And before I left, because I started teaching at Palote, So before he left, he died maybe a year after he told me that. I found myself still taking home my briefcase on Fridays, but not opening it any at all.
Right.
And that realization that you have to be able to give time to yourself is something that we are not trained or taught to do. We're taught to just continue to push and push and push, but you have to separate it for yourself.
And I find
Put your
teachers,
own boundaries in place, and I think our teachers are learning to put those boundaries, and I am proud of them. I see in some cases where teachers are insisting that they get their lunch hour and that it's their lunch hour to do. And I know there has been some pushback from parents to some extent, but the reality is a teacher is at school, especially at even at the high school level. Some of them are at school from 7:30, 7:15 in the morning. And their lunch break might be the only time they get to actually sit down and take a breath. So we
right.
have to learn to respect and give them their boundaries. And
I mean,
we
during
go,
COVID, most parents didn't even want to deal with their own kids, much
yeah,
less deal with 20, 30 kids at a time.
yeah.
But a teacher is much like a police officer. There's no turn off. If somebody sees you, and I'm thinking that a lot of them are probably developing close relationships with their young people.
Yeah.
If the young people confide in them, that's the aspect that I worry about, where they're kind of exposed to a lot of different things. And sometimes these teachers are the only lifeline for some of these young people. Um, and with that being said, do you know if there's a national youth policy? I've been hearing it a lot, but do we have a national youth policy?
There was one. I think the youth department is revamping. Uh, like I said before, I worked at the youth department, and when I left there in 2020, December of 2012, uh, the youth policy had just been developed. So I
Okay.
know that they had one, and I know that they are working on developing one.
But what does that mean? Like in the scheme of things, young people, it's almost like when they said the hearts to starve while the grass to grow. Like, do you know the timeline, whether or not that youth policy will come with a budget? This isn't your field, but I know that you
No.
are impacted by this environment. When I was growing up, I think when I was growing up, and I grew up in Belmopan, I feel like adults generally were more
Mm-hmm.
involved with young people. You had parents who ran youth groups. Even the politicians were more vested in young people in the sense of, are you guys going to register to vote? Are you guys going to, like, some of them were vested into passing on knowledge and stuff like that. But I feel like, and I know you can't be critical because you're within the government environment, but I feel sometimes that our leaders, it doesn't matter what party it is, are not vested anymore in young people. I feel like when I was growing up, the Catholic Church had youth jamboree. You had the political parties had dynamic youth organizations. They were promoting youth. They were pushing youths. It
But
seems
I think that still happens. I know youth department has there is a program where they have youth groups who register with the department. So there are youth groups all over the country of Belize who register with the Department of Youth Services. And they provide training opportunities. They provide opportunities over the summer for them. They're big youth camps. I know the political parties, they still have their youth arm. There's a lot of work going on with youths in terms of the Belize City Council and the work that they're doing with young people. So there is a lot going on for youths. Sports is a huge issue where a huge area where our young people are thriving and are actually succeeding and getting scholarships and moving from point A to point B, and they're doing that while they're in school. So there is a lot that's going on with our young people.
Which is wonderful without a doubt. But what I'm looking at is the teenage pregnancy rate is extremely high for Belize. I think it's one of the highest in the region, right?
Mhm.
We have a lot of young people that are engaging in alcohol and drug use. But it seems almost like it's becoming almost cultural now, where the level of drinking that we're seeing from some of the young people, it seems very excessive. And I'm just throwing this out here on this show, and I don't talk politics with people in the sense of policy.
Mhm.
This is just me observing it from, and you could say a bird's eye view with young people, because sometimes I do little programs to engage young people too, because a lot of them are brilliant. You could look at social media, the
Yeah.
creativity is off the chain, right? But I feel like my youth group, and I could be completely just being an old head, just being nostalgic about when I was growing up. But I feel like when I was growing up, it was almost organic, in the sense of the people who were leading these organizations were really teaching you to love your country, to contribute to your country. Even Catholic youth group back then, it was so dynamic. I don't know if I grew up Catholic, but they had these major jamboree, and parents would send their kids. I know parents would not do that today. Just send their kids to, I think the ones I went to was in Cayo, San Ignacio, and then we had one in Orange Walk, I believe. And the church would hook you up with staying at some family of some
Yeah.
parishioner, and they would have all these youth activities and discussions. And it wasn't political in any way. It was
Well,
just young
those things
people.
are still happening.
But we don't see them. Like, why are we not seeing
I don't
that?
know. But you mentioned an interesting point. You spoke about parents. When we talk about all the access that our young people have to alcohol and substance and all of that, then we also have to ask, where are the parents in all of this?
But we know that in a lot of cases, there's no parenting, because we have to be, a lot of these parents are young and they have to be training them themselves.
Yeah.
But
So then
back,
therein
back
lies
then,
part of the problem. But a bigger issue is we are not setting boundaries within our homes. And
but
that is
even within
something that,
our society, like, why is the clubs, and I'm just saying this, why are clubs allowing children to be in the clubs, drink? I mean, I know we have a drinking age. I'm pretty sure it's not enforced.
mm,
But I feel like if we're going to have a policy, it has to be a policy that's more than on paper. It has to be a policy that involves not only parents, but even the society, because society also plays a role in helping to,
yeah.
dictate guidelines and police certain things. It's never only going to be parents, because,
No, it's not, because parents are part of the community, and
right,
all of us have a role to play. And I think we are not, we're playing our role, but we're not looking at partnerships in terms
right.
of how we connect and provide the enabling environment for our young people to thrive. There's a lot that we're doing, and we're doing really well. We just have to look at, if we look at the statistics um, of the number of young people who are graduating and number of young people who are transitioning to meaningful and gainful employment, our if you our BPO sector, if you will, is young people generated, and they're working, and they're working, they're earning, they are doing well in those industries, and some of them are moving up the chain. So yes, we have certain I think what we have is access. We it's easier now to access a lot of things.
Right. I agree. I
And
agree.
because we have that access, and there is not necessarily the stringent monitoring that needs to be done, certain things are slipping through the cracks. But I think,
Okay, back to old head me when I was growing up. We were
mm,
afraid for go down club. We were afraid we would not
yeah,
enter certain spaces because even if your school find out, not only your parent, if
mm,
your school find out, that is potential problems because the school could find out, your parents find out after that are problems, right?
yeah.
Now kids they post pictures from the club, the drink, the party and stuff, and it's happening within an environment that I think,
Well, I know the schools are trying really hard,
okay,
and Ministry of Education and everybody is trying, but to 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 limit and put the boundaries in place.
right,
But uh, our young people are digital individuals.
right.
You take away their phone or any device, and it's like you're killing them.
Well, it'd be like Nepal. You see, they had a whole
It's their
revolution.
lifeline, and that is what they're using out there to get everything that they don't read. They don't. All the information they're getting is from off of
Social media,
social media.
right,
Now, how do we stop that influence when it is and during COVID and when everybody was on lockdown and we were sheltering in place? The only thing we had at that time that we could use was social media.
right.
And so we developed that need because social media kept a lot of us sane during COVID.
Connected,
Uh, And our young people are just living that life.
right,
Now, what schools are doing and other organizations, they're putting more activities to bring young people together outside so that they can
look each other in the eye and get.
and talk and communicate and just have clean fun. So
So
yes,
when I went to a doctor in Florida when I was there, he's telling me his daughter wants to be a doctor. And he's like, I don't understand how she's going to be a doctor when she can't even look anybody in the eye. She's smart, she's making the grade, but he's saying she doesn't know to communicate face to face.
or
Her
she'll
face,
do consultations on Zoom.
right. I guess that's
So I
too
think
old head started.
we have to give credit to our young people.
And I know
The
you're
the
a youth advocate without a doubt, but I am kind of challenging where we're headed because I feel like I find young people to be extremely brilliant. That's my experience with them. They have a lot of great ideas and stuff, but a lot of them don't have an outlet, right? For some of the things that, for one, part of the youth policy, I think should be have kids start school later. Like people like to celebrate, keep people coming out of school at 15 and 16, but once you come out of school at 15 and 16, you're still a minor,
yeah,
socializing in an adult world. And I don't think those are policies that I think we should have had in place. And this has nothing to do with you. I just think as a country, regardless of
yeah.
party, these are some of the policies we should look at for our young people because there are some kids that are going to go way ahead. This digital age it's moving right now where the people who are getting it are going to go far, but then the gap where you're
Yeah.
dealing with kids that don't have access, that gap that I was reading somewhere about the gap that COVID created because of similar things that you mentioned. There's a lot of kids that did not have access to the internet. They do not have access to even electricity. And that gap is going to be something that they won't be able to catch up by the time all this development with AI and different new technology that's coming on stream. Perfect example, when I went to college here in the US, I didn't come in as a 19, 21-year-old. I came in 25 years old, right?
Mm-hmm.
Which you wouldn't think that's a major difference because I did sixth form in Belize and UB. But it was something as simple as how they took notes and organized their
Yeah.
notes, right? With one note, where we were not coming out of that system. We were still kind of handwriting and a lot of stuff. And it's just something as simple as the access to a certain level of technology that gives them an edge, even in how they do presentations. Of course, Belizeans, I feel like, given the opportunity, most Belizeans adapt very fast.
Yeah. Yeah,
But
we do.
I don't know if that's going to be the case again in 5 years because the level of technology that's moving versus what we have access to, it's going to create a serious gap. And I think the youth policy should be something that should
Well,
be a
I
living
think
document, not a
perhaps you
they're
need to
working on.
invite the director of the youth department to be a part of
Oh,
your
I
show
would
so they
definitely
can
would
speak
love
of
to
that.
talk to them
But
about it.
I know while we have the program at Restore, I know that there are a lot of and this year the government has uh, put in place a number of other free schools. And these schools are providing opportunities to students who um, again would not be going to school.
And let
But
me
it's not
say,
just
let
that
me
they're
say,
providing them
Christine,
with education, they're providing them with access to
everything,
socio
everything economic.
psychosocial support. They're
Mhm.
providing them with access to devices so that they can utilize and learn. So there's a lot that's going on. Are we there yet? No, we're not. But the world is dynamic and it's ever changing, and we are putting ourselves and our young people in the place to hold their own. Because when students leave from Belize and they go to not only universities in the States, they go to Canada, they go in the Caribbean, elsewhere, or Asia, they're able to hold their own.
I agree.
And they're able to hold their own because of the background that they have received, and not only because of the educational background, but because of the 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 dynamic nature of living in Belize, where you are exposed to so many different cultures. So when you go, you're not, and Belizeans are social people. So when we go abroad, when our students go abroad, they're able to fit in, find their footing, uh, excel in what they need to excel, and the majority of them come home and help to continue to build the country. And I think
And
that is
let me
important.
say that that's one of the best programs I see any government has undertaken, to be honest, is that school program
Mm.
where they're giving these kids access to education. Um, I feel like Belize best resources is not a Maya temple or a
It's the
river.
people.
It's our people
It's
because
the people.
I'll tell you, even from a tourism perspective, how many people you're going to meet abroad that say, "Oh, I know a Belizean," and whenever they say that, it's always about, "Hey, come to my country," and these are the different things. We are the best ambassadors for Belize.
Yes, we are.
Nobody can sell Belize more than a Belizean. Do you
Yeah.
know how many people want to follow me to Belize? I don't even tell them sometimes when I'm coming because it's almost like to do that will take up so much of your time to take them to different. But every time people, hey, Aria, when are you going to Belize? Can I go when you're going? Because regardless of how we talk about politics and different things, people see that we love Belize
Yeah.
and we celebrate our food and our culture and we celebrate each other, even though sometimes we quarrel with one another and stuff.
Yeah.
Before you turn around, everybody again, they hang out, they have fun, we invite people in. And I say that because I feel like we need to seriously have a policy. And I see in it because I do like this outside school thing that they're doing where they're providing uniforms. I don't think the average person appreciates how poor some families are to get your kid together, buy books. That's
Yeah.
oppressive. I mean, when I hear somebody has school fees, I'm surprised that parents in Belize somehow make it happen. That the miracle worker is the Belizean parent.
Well, yes, and our parents, all of the majority of parents want better for their kids than they had. So they will make whatever sacrifice they need to make to
Right,
ensure that that child is able to go to school. And not only just go to school, but to live in the world that school creates,
right.
because school creates an entire community of activities, and your child being there, they have to be able to function within all those activities. So I
Well,
think
everybody that has a best friend in the world, it came from school, right? You
I
keep
know
meeting people
from
and
high school days,
yes,
high school, primary
I
school
still have
days.
my same friends like when I was growing up because that's where you form a lot of your initial bonds, and so school is so important outside of just ABCs, one, two, three. School is a big impact on social
Yeah,
environment,
it's where they learn how to socialize.
right?
Where they learn how to set their boundaries. It's where they learn how to empathize with persons. It's where they learn how to
That's where a lot
push
of
their
people
limits.
first love is.
Yeah,
They find their first love in school or something. So I think I felt growing up, I had a very enriched environment growing up in Belize. That's if when people ask me sometimes, what is it about Belize what Uno love so much? Like people ask that question because that's how much love Belizeans show for Belize.
yeah,
People cannot believe it because everybody believe America is the best place in the world. So nobody should love anywhere else beside here. But the reality is, I know people that go home just to say, man, I just need to go home to feel that Belizean
yeah,
love. I always tell people you gotta believe your family not see you for a while. When you touch down, pay one penny. The amount
yeah,
of people that invite you, hey, come eat, come do this. That the
yeah,
family that Belize offers, what we not get many times because we do work 9 to 5 and your life is busy with stuff. But Belize have something and just to bring it up about our young people. I think we look at the diaspora, and I know sometimes it's looked at negatively because some people felt that families were kind of broken up. A lot of our families grew up where you could go to your aunt, your grandmother, your cousin. Your
The
cousins grew up
extended
like,
family.
yes, grew up like your siblings. But
hmm
when a lot of people moved out, and sometimes I wonder if that's not some of the animosity. So when people moved out, I think it kind of created, this is just my overview of it. It kind of created broken environments where the parent might have left with the grandchild there, I mean, with their grandparents. It created a broken way that we grew up. And that's why I always wonder from a policy perspective, how do we mend that? How do we bring back Belizeans? Because listen, the 21st of September right now.
Yeah.
Just want to say, Chicago is having something. New York is having something. Arizona, Louisiana, Los Angeles, all the way down to Australia.
Okay,
I'm
nice.
sure the Taiwanese kids are having something,
Yes, they are.
right? I'm
They
sure
are.
the Caribbean kids, the one that are studying abroad, are having something. The Florida is having something. That to me is the diaspora, that the average Belizean, that the thing why I feel like we need for keep alive and in this case where restore Belize, and I tie it to restore Belize because this is how I feel a diaspora can help,
Yes.
right? Where you can restore these young people to something that we remember, something that's positive, that they can take back, where they have very positive experiences, and they're given an opportunity to succeed. Because I really think with Belizeans, I deeply believe it. once a Belizean is given the right tool and the right environment to thrive, that's the way I say happen. I've
Yeah.
seen it. I've seen it. I've seen people come from very
We
poor
are
families.
resilient people. We are going to not just bounce back, but we bounce forward, and when we bounce forward, we take others with us.
Right, right.
So
Rise
we're
one
not
step, right.
selfish human beings. We're very empathetic. We are very giving, and we look out for each other.
We kind of thin skin when I get back because this one never like with cake or we blah blah blah. You know
But
that
we will
how we
still
are.
help. We will
Right,
still help,
right.
and I think that is something that we have to we're blessed in that sense that as Belizeans we're always trying and to give back, to
Right.
help, to see the good in others, and to pay. So we're always paying it forward. In other words,
Yes.
it's
And
never just about
we feel deeply for each other, you know,
yeah,
Belizeans feel deeply for each other, and I think that's why the diaspora has spent over, if I'm not mistaken, it did what, 12 million now a year? And that's just in remittances. That now they cover when then they send in a box and when then they send in different ways of helping. And I hope people see this for what it is,
yeah.
that you're the change on life. I mean, it's not only to send them to school, but if you're
No, but
educating the parent too, that generational impact, right?
yeah. So we're reaching out. And if there's anyone who is interested in helping in any way,
You have to drop the phone numbers. Like, what are some of the phone numbers and
uh,
email addresses? Who can reach
restorebelieves at
out?
opm.gov.bz. I don't know how to get that up there.
We could put it in the
Whoever,
chat afterwards.
okay.
Yeah,
And they can reach out and we will, if they want us to do a presentation for a group, we are happy to do that and see how we can, the, the, the whole point of all of this is to see how we can offer more and bring in more young people. Because the more it's, if you look at it, it's like when you do contact tracing. If you look at, I had shared the impact report from last year, the study hall that uh, we had our Restore Belief students, and then you have friends. So for every student that's coming in, they're bringing a friend who's not a part of the program, and that friend gets to access all the services that are available during study hall. So
that's
it's
good.
how do we, for every Restore Beliefs is creating a network of persons. We have the child, the parents, and by extension the wider family, but then there's also the school community. I go back to my mathematics days and say that what we have is a triangle with Restore Beliefs and the parents forming the base of the triangle. Restore Beliefs, Restore Beliefs, the school, and the parent we are on the base. Restore Beliefs and the school form one end, the parents the other end, and then at the top is the child. So the child is at the apex of the triangle.
Right.
And that child needs the support that the base provides to ensure that he or she is successful. And we have to remember that success, while it's about passing, it's not only just about passing. It's about how you grow as an individual,
Survive mentally, physically.
physically, and all the other alleys.
Yeah.
And so failure is, in Belize, we don't recognize failure, but from an entrepreneurial point of view, failure is needed for success because
Well,
it's
from an
when,
entrepreneurial, because I did an MBA too, you
mhm,
fail when you stop trying,
yeah,
right? If you keep trying, even if you fail, you get back up, you dust
yeah.
off, you try something new, you learn from that failure.
So yeah, it's failure is a learning experience,
Yes.
and it simply means that you were not there yet, but you can move beyond that point. Failure is not a stop. It's not a full stop. It might be it's a comma or it's a pause, but you move forward and you move beyond that. And I think we have to recognize that success, statistically, they say that 10% of any population, when you're talking about school, 10% of any population will not succeed. And if you take the statistics out of it, if you look only at the statistics, then you ignore the contributing factors.
And the individual.
And the individual. Success is not just one thing. It's a whole list of factors that will push success. And
so I want to bring up a movie I saw one time. It's called The Constant Gardener, right?
Okay.
Might be one of the most depressing, have you to cry type movies. But it was about these kids in Africa where one of the kid was in danger. There was a lot of warfare and stuff going on. And the guy said, why save one? And I think it's perfect for this restore beliefs. Why save one? Like, why save one? And he said, well, you had the opportunity to, if you could have the opportunity to just save one person, why wouldn't you save just that one? Like, why have everybody? You know what I mean? It's
yeah,
like if
by
you could
saving
save
one,
one kid,
you actually save
future children,
more.
future
You
generations.
save more because whoever is connected to that one
Yes,
also benefits from the save. So it's never just a matter of saving one. It's
right.
never a matter of providing opportunity for one. You're providing an opportunity for one, but that opportunity extends to the family. And it extends to siblings and everybody else.
And even the parent in this
The
case,
parents.
which I really think that's the part I like the best.
Yeah.
Because the parent, even though one child might be in this program, the fact that the parent is benefiting mean that every child that parent has
Yeah.
benefits from that type of intervention, right? Bilal,
Mhm.
you could talk it, Bilal.
No,
Finally.
I'm listening off the air while I was there, and I love the conversation. You hearing me?
Yes,
Because
Yes,
yes,
we're
I can hear
I
you
might
now.
just go again mute.
We
I'm
have
having some problem
literally
with my
8 minutes.
having problems with my song heart, but I love the conversation that I was hearing. Sister Christine Smith, you were on point, Aria. I mean, you asked all the right questions. And we are getting this chance to have Restore Beliefs to be heard, which is so important that we brought her on, Aria. And like I said, Aria, you're asking all the right questions, and I'm always very confident that if I'm not there, Aria is gonna run with it because
And I know I touch
yeah.
politics all the time, and I know that now I touch a subject, but I feel like when I talk about it from a policy perspective. I try to keep it that. Try to keep even though the personalities are always interesting. But I feel like as Belizeans, it is incumbent upon all of us to make sure that we fight for our country.
Yeah.
Right now Belize is under threat from Guatemala, and they get quite brazen these days. One of the things I think that is sustaining about Belize, like I mentioned, September celebration coming up, everybody to celebrate September celebration. It shows that whoever envisioned the country of Belize, they left us all with one deep love for the country. But it
Yeah.
can't just be that we love the water, we love the beaches, we have to love our people too. We have to create a
Human
space where
resource.
everybody that believes could survive and thrive. They're
Yeah.
not just about getting a job, as you said. It's also about becoming the poorest child with no shoes on should be able to envision himself as the prime minister one day.
Yeah.
I feel like that's my dream for Belize. Bilal, we have five
Yeah,
minutes. You have
yeah,
to.
it's like I found it very fitting. Hope my audio don't go. But I visited Restore Belize through Roger Bradley. He
Yeah.
invited me, and I never knew Christine Smith was my cousin.
You
Yeah.
sure
And
not the
Aria,
kid's
just to
cousin?
give you the joke, right here, Roger Bradley bringing me in to ask me to give some
Mhm.
help to this program to show me what Restore Belize is all about. And so he said, man, I want you to speak to my boss, my director. And I walk into this room and me and the director, Christine Smith, we are engaging in dialogue. And next thing to find out, she's a relative of mine. But it was such a pleasure. And I
It's a
left
small world, isn't it?
that small
Especially in
world.
Belize.
Yes.
So I left with the promise to her that I will try to do something, maybe bring it to BBI, Build Belize Incorporated.
Yeah.
I discussed it with Sunday Murphy once before. She and I was dialoguing about Restore Belize. I know they had their hands full so far in terms of what they're doing as a diaspora, the ambassador of diaspora relations, and then the setting up of Build Belize Incorporated as a support, sort of tapping into the diaspora to help programs like this. So finally, we were able to invite her and she accepted the invitation to come on and maybe publicize it to the listening audience of the Belizean diaspora. And so we hope that with that, Christine, that getting this airtime through XTV, that those in the diaspora have heard you and that you may get some philanthropists, some
I'm hoping
Belizean
for that.
philanthropists, right, that may come forth. Because that's how we have to do. We have to push it. And the conversation you and Aria had there was so constructive. I mean, in terms of educating our people in the diaspora about educational programs. I mean, I was so mostly touched by the young people in the inner cities. I teach in inner city schools, rough. One star, 20 boys, all of them gangsters,
Oh, wow.
high school, and 3 of them are engineers today.
Yeah.
They come to school with no bags, no book. They are straight from the projects. All of them are gangsters.
But
20
they're
of them.
smart, they're
Algebra.
smart, intelligent.
You can give them a book and say, read problem number such and such. But if you show them a linear equation or
Yeah.
slope intercept form, by showing it to them, they are visual learners. They get,
Mm-hmm.
and so that brain that you realize, you see these kids there, they are written off. They're written off, but look at that. They don't have no book, no bag. You can't tell them to read because they can't even read. They read at a 4th grade level and
Yeah.
they are 9th graders. But if they are visual learners, so we can write them off. And I was listening to that conversation and how, Christine Smith, you were explaining about what is happening with the young men in the inner cities of Belize City who Restore Belize have been able to tap into and have changed lives. And I'm very big on that. I was very impressed and really want to congratulate you as the director of Restore Belize for the work that you have done in helping pull these young men out of, pull them out of giving them a chance, because that's what they need is a chance, right?
Yeah.
And that's really what I'm so happy that you came on. Aria asked the right questions. I have to say that again, because this is her area. This is her area, and that you are able to explain to the Belizean audience in the diaspora about what we are doing with children in the inner cities, the culturally deprived
Right.
of Belize City. And Restore Belize is working directly there. I see the program. I visited it.
Yeah.
And to Roger Bradley, I want to thank him for bringing me in to let me see this experiment. And you being an educator yourself, Christine Smith, that made a big plus in that you know how to teach young people. Not only young
And
people
she's
from
a
the
big defender, let me tell you, of young people. I hear nothing negative about young people. That's good.
right.
Because young people do need advocates. And
Indeed.
you're right, Bilal, young people need to be seen that you're young. You don't know what you want in life. You make mistakes. Young people should be allowed to make mistakes. You
Yeah.
should be able to come back.
Part of their growth.
Yes. If you don't make one
Their growth.
mistake, that means you haven't grown much. If you've never
Yeah.
been criticized, it means you've never given the opportunity to do better. So
Yeah.
thank you so much, Christine Smith, from Executive Director of Restore Belize. Belizeans, home and abroad, if you want to get involved with Impact, because I know people always ask, I don't know how to get involved, I don't know where part for go. They have accountability for their program. They have impact reports to show you how that these kids are impacted. And these kids are benefiting from the ability to excel. And we thank you for being that person in their lives. So with that said, thank you, XTV, Creme Radio, Harlan. I can't believe Harlan made it back there to talk. Um, Nouri Mohammed, who is our producer for the show, and the opportunity to give the diaspora an opportunity to connect with Belizeans at home and abroad. Happy Independence Day, Belize, coming up the 21st. It's going to be celebrated throughout the world, not only
Yeah.
in Belize. We'll be on the dance to Kess. We're on the dance of Reagan,
All
okay?
right.
In the diaspora. But Bilal, you send
Okay.
it out.
Yes.
I just
Get
want to
me.
say that
Go ahead, Christine.
I
Yes.
Restore Belize, it's a team effort. So it's a small group of persons. We are a team of 8, and we are able to go out and do what we need to do to ensure that our young people and our beneficiaries receive the best of services, and services that will allow them to move beyond where they are and see themselves in the future.
Awesome.
And again, we
So
want to
thanks to the
thank you.
team at Restore.
Yes. We want to thank you, my sister, Christine Smith. This is an XTV production, Naval String Connection, broadcasted every Thursday right here live on XTV. Belizeans in the diaspora, we want to thank you for tuning in to this show every Thursday, and give us some feedback some of these days in terms of on the XTV link on Facebook and YouTube. Let us know how we are doing. We would very much like to hear from you. We don't have that back and forth where we can open the lines here
Yeah.
in this kind of experiment, but you can still give us a feedback in terms of the Naval String Connection show. And again, we want to thank you for watching and listening. And until next week again for another edition of Naval String Connection, we want to say to all of you, good night.
I am a true band Belizean. Belize my home, my native land. I want you people to understand. I am proud to be a Belizean.